All right, in this mini lesson, we're talking about, once again, the segment addition postulate, and we're going to be looking at midpoints, what to do with midpoints. I think what a midpoint is, it's a point that's in the middle of a segment. I'm going to move past the first couple problems, because we'll do those in class. Let's go right to number 5. So number 5 says B is between A and C. So B is between A and C. From B to A is 1. From B to C is 5. We're supposed to find A to C. Now this, compared to the lesson 2.2a that we did not too long ago, this should be pretty easy, I think, a lot easier. So take a look. Maybe I should have flip-flopped these mini lessons. Oh well, let's do this. B is between A and C. Let's draw a picture. So here's A, here's C, and B is somewhere in between. We don't know. It doesn't say if it's in the middle. It does not say midpoint. If it said midpoint, it'd be right in the middle. So somewhere there. We do know from B to A is 1. So from B to A, that distance is 1. From B to C, that distance is 5. We're supposed to find A to C. Well, A to C is the distance from here all the way to here. And the addition postulate says, hey, the segment addition postulate says you take this segment here and this little segment here, AB, and then BC, and you put those together, it gives you A all the way to C. So you're just adding 1 plus 5, which would be 6. So A to C would equal 6. All right, in our next example, in number 6, it says R is the midpoint of segment PS. So we know already in this picture that from P to S, R is not just in between, it is the midpoint. So it's right in the middle of those two. That means those two distances from here to here and here to here have to be the exact same length. Now it also says Q, let me grab my highlighter, Q is another point, and that's the midpoint of P to R. So we have another point to add here. So Q is in the middle of P to R. So right in the middle of P to R is Q. So that means this little distance and this little distance have to be the same as each other. Now what else do we know? It says P to Q is 13. So from P to Q it's 13. Let me label that in here. So P to Q is 13. We're supposed to find the distance from R to S, which is this distance from here to here. Well, this is how you do it. We know that Q is in between. It's the midpoint of PR. So P to Q and Q to R have to be exactly the same. So that means together, that distance is 26. And remember from earlier, R is the midpoint of P to S. So R is in the middle. That means this distance here has to be the same as from P to R, which is 26. So that's also 26. And that's what the question says. What's the distance from R to S? It's going to be 26. That's what you tap in. All right, let me go a little quicker. Number 7. You have a point Y. It's the midpoint of W to Z. So let me draw W to Z. Sometimes I make these too small. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger. So W to Z is here. Y is the midpoint, right in the middle. That means this distance and this distance, W to Y, has to be the same as the distance of Y to Z. Now there's X. Point X is the midpoint of W to Y. So right in here is going to be X. That's the midpoint. That's the key here. Not just in between, it's the midpoint. From W to Y is 8. So from W to Y, that whole distance is 8. Find the length of X to Z. What? X to Z? X is here. It goes all the way to Z. How am I going to find that? Here's how you do it. I know that this distance is 8. And X is right in the middle, so half of that would be 4 here and a 4 here. Yes? And since Y is the midpoint of W to Z, which is the whole big thing. Y to Z, this whole distance has to be the same as this whole distance, which was 8. So that distance is 8. So from X, which is right here, all the way to Z, which is right here, I need to add a 4 plus an 8. And my answer would be 12. So the distance of X to Z is going to be 12. So the real good thing is use scrap paper, sketch these things. Watch where the midpoints are. Use a little mathematics here and your reasoning skills, and you'll get these. All right, last one. K is between J and L. We don't know if it's in the middle. We just know it's between. We know from J to K is 50, and J to L is 87. We're supposed to find K to L. Let's draw a picture. So K is between J and L. So I know the ends have to be J and L. Somewhere in between, there has to be a K. From J to K is 50, so that has to be 50 from here to here. The distance from J to L, J all the way to L, is 87. We're supposed to find K to L, this distance right here. One way to do it, you could put a variable here like we're missing that number, and you know that 50 plus the n has to be 87, so you could set up an equation. Now some of you also can see that all you have to do is subtract 50, and you'd end up with the missing distance for n. So this missing distance would be 37. Remember, always go back and check too, what are you finding? You're finding K to L, so make sure you're finding the actual distance K to L, which would be the n, which is my 37.